So you did the hard part and you got yourself down to the 1 yard line. Well, it's not worth anything unless you score.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Today I'm going to give you a plan for short yardage. And yes, you need to have a plan. You cannot always just use your base offense on the 1 yard line. And that's because everyone knows you need to run the ball and they will pack that box full of bodies. That doesn't mean you can't run it. It just means you need to have a plan. Before I dive into my short yardage plan, if you want to dive deeper, which if you are serious about being really good at coaching this game, you need to dive as deep as you can, as often as you can. A few years ago, I traveled to Columbus, Ohio, and got this presentation from Brad Burchfield, and he takes a good amount of time diving deep into their plan for short yardage offense, which actually goes deeper than just a set of plays. It's philosophy and how to be excellent so that you're excellent in the red zone as well. So I highly encourage you to check that out. But we have so many others. We're transferring our entire library here over to YouTube, and there's so much available. So if you enjoy what we're producing, either want to know more, want access to more, or want to support us, click that join button below. Back to our plan for short yardage. Now, let's hit the whiteboard here. I've gone ahead and stacked that defense, packed it in tight on us. Now, I cannot predict what offense you want to run. Now, at the youth and high school level, I prefer to be under center, but that's me, and I know I'm in the minority there. So I've drawn up a set here where we're in the gun. And we're assuming right now that our best play is just power. Double team at the point of attack. We're going to kick out with this fullback, and our backside guard is going to pull and lead through the hole. The only problem with this is that we want to, well, I guess it's not a problem. We want to make sure that we have accounted for and made a plan to be as safe as we can on the goal line. Because what's going to kill us the most, first of all, we're on the 1. So what we cannot afford is to go backwards. If we got 2 shots at this, 3 shots at this, we want to make sure, worst case scenario, we gain nothing. And what kills you on the goal line are run-throughs. When this guy or this guy, somebody penetrates and gets into the backfield. That's what causes either fumbles or negative yardage. So there's some things we can do to give ourselves a better chance to allow less negative yardage or to have less of a chance to have a negative yard play. And the first thing is just cutting down your splits. Now, I already have it drawn up there. You want to be really tight. So if you're normally, most teams are going to be somewhere around 2-foot splits, which means the guard, my outside foot is 2 feet away from that tackle's inside foot. We as a team used to like being maybe even a little wider than that at times, but when we got on the goal line and we had a call for our package, our goal line package, when we go to this package, you tighten up. And we wanted to be about 6 inches apart. But there are times in my career where we wanted to be foot to foot. It depends. I mean, if we're on the 6-inch line, go foot to foot. Like my foot is practically or is touching your foot. Tighten down the splits because we cannot afford to have any run-throughs here. Now, if my team is good enough and I know I'm good enough up front, the first thing I may try if I'm on the 1 is just to wedge it in. So you need to spend time on wedging. And we spend time on wedging, and we make sure we don't call out men when we wedge. We don't say, well, I'll take this one, you take this one. We actually block each other's backs. We want to put our shoulder into our own teammates' back. So the first thing is wedge. If you can wedge, get under center and wedge, then wedge. If you're a team that, if you, for whatever reason, maybe you're smaller that year and you're not having success with wedge, or you're a shotgun team and you never take a snap under center, then I don't think this is a good time to take the risk of changing up your snap. Every little change in your offense presents a new risk, especially when the change involves handling the football. So let's do this. If our best run play is power, and we know our best run play is power, we kick out with this man, the backside guard pulls and leads up the hole. Well, we're going to make a substitution here to give ourselves a better chance. We're going to make the play safer, number 1. And number 2, we're going to come in with some bigger bodies. So we're going to substitute. We're going to take this little skinny man out, and we're going to bring in our next best lineman. So we're going to bring in our next best lineman. We're going to take our guard that normally pulls and leads there on power, and we're going to put him here in the backfield. he's really going to mirror that fullback on the other side, and we're going to replace him with my guard. So now we're still going to run power, but this guard, the replacement guard, he's not pulling. He's actually also going to stay there. So we're going to get a double team here at the point of attack. This man's rule would usually be man away, man on, but now he can just block man on because he has the help of this guard, who now also is going to block man away, man on, and our backside guy can continue to hinge like he always does on the backside of power. Now on the front side, I get to still run it exactly like power in the middle of the field. My fullback gets here and kicks out. On a strong J block, he wants to go downhill at his double team first and then J it out, try to get his head on the inside and pry that man out. And now my backside guard, who's now technically a back, is doing his exact same job that he does on power. So I don't have to reteach this. Whatever his pull and steps are when he was right here, I'm going to do it exactly the same right here. Pull and lead up the hole. So now I've got the same kid. I don't have to teach a new kid. I'm not teaching a backup to pull across. It's my best kid who's likely one of my best blockers, and we're getting some of our best backs behind best blockers, which is a line from that video that I recommended earlier by Brad Burchfield. Best back behind best blockers. So that is a great way to adjust your offense for short yardage. Now, if you can, I would recommend also bringing in another man. Maybe you put him here. Maybe this man over here tightens in and comes to the tight end, right? We might as well just cut off penetration here on this backside. Give these guys, everybody, longer to go. They have to go around us to penetrate into the backfield. We're trying to be safe. Now, a little wrinkle, if your quarterback is your dude. Right now, if I'm the Jets, I don't do this with Aaron Rodgers, right? We got to protect that guy. He's not in his prime. He's not a downhill 1-yard runner. But if my quarterback's pretty special, he's got some size to him, he's one of my best backs, and he runs a lot during the rest of the game, I can just add this little wrinkle. I'll split this man out right here, and I'm going to bring him in a sprinting motion, okay? We're going to time up our cadence and sprint him across. Now, I would prefer to send him behind the quarterback in this situation. Now, if the jet action is normally a part of your offense and your kid is used to running in front of that quarterback and timing up on a jet fake, then yeah, go ahead and still do that. But if that jet action isn't a normal part of your offense, I wouldn't mess with it because you're timing up him running in front of the quarterback, which now there's a risk of him running into the snap, or it distracts your quarterback in even catching the snap. Again, we're on the goal line. We have 1 yard to go. We are trying to minimize risk. So I'm going to sprint him behind. All he has to do is keep sprinting out wide, and as he keeps sprinting out wide, he looks back at that quarterback and shows his hands like he's reaching and waiting for something. Just that action will force or cause some of these guys to widen up, and this edge can be just a touch softer. When we're talking about a game within the 1 yard line, it's a 3-foot space, man. That could be 6 more inches that we're able to win by influencing these guys' eyes. Now I'm running the same power play in front. Right here with this blocking, quarterback's literally going to catch and lead. I could do the same thing back the other side with both of these guys, bring the same guy in motion and run my power play back to this side with this man kicking out and this one leading up through. So now I could do it either way. Now, in case you don't know, I learned this lesson as a young coach. You really want to avoid a quote-unquote counterplay where too many guys are pulling on the offensive line. I already alluded to earlier why we want to avoid that. We don't want run-throughs. It is risky. And counterplays by nature hit slower. I'm not just snapping the ball and attacking a spot. I'm faking one way and going back the other, which slows the play down. We want to avoid slow plays on the goal line, so we would never want to run a true counter tray blocking on the goal line, okay? Now, have guys gotten away with it? Of course, but it's riskier, and we want to minimize risky plays on the goal line. Now, if you're like me and you're an under center team, I liked to do one of my best plays out in the open field, but I would do a similar thing on the goal line. I would bring a new lineman in, an extra lineman in, and he would replace my wingback. So my wing is out, my extra lineman is in, and my extra lineman goes right here in this spot right behind where he normally lined up. Now, one of our best plays in the open field was we called it belly, down, down, kick out with my guard right here. And that was a type of block, a very specific block, and not just as simple as just a kick out. We would spend hours and hours practicing this pull exactly. So I wanted my best kid at this pull doing it still. So I'd take my best kid at this pull, which is now here in blue, and he'd line up right next to my quarterback, basically right behind where he would normally play in this set. And now my extra lineman here is also going to down block. Now I've got no hole here for penetration, and I've got my best puller on this belly play leading up through the hole. And there we go with our best play right off tackle and our influence going wide here outside of that. So hopefully this helps, man. Take what you do best and do it on the goal line. But everybody's got to come closer together, and you can find advantages by substituting out one of your smaller kids with a bigger one. And then you got to hammer away. You got to put shoulders down, run your feet, and win yardage. Thanks so much for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Reach out to us anytime. You can find us on X at The Chief Pigskin.